Well, hello, home inspectors out there in home inspection land, I guess is a way to say it. Like I'd said before, if you've been following my podcast, there's three different things I wanted to do when I started it. I wanted to interview home inspectors first and foremost, interview realtors and home inspection vendors. Actually, I guess this would be four things. And I wanted to review books that I've read that I thought, I read a lot of business books. I know all you guys own your own business for the most part. You kind of have to be your own boss, your own coach, yada, yada, yada. So I'm always reading business books, trying to stay inspired, trying to, stay motivated. So I figured you guys are too. So I thought if I read a good one, I would share it with you guys and see if you wanted to read it. The book I wanted to review on this podcast, like I said, this will be a little bit different podcast. I'm not interviewing anybody. It's called Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. He is the CEO, or he was the CEO of Zappos.com. Zappos is Spanish for Zapatos, shoes. It was a website that sold shoes primarily in the beginning. Then they moved on to other things. He eventually sold to Amazon for a lot. I think it was $1.2 billion. But for about 10 years, he was just rocking and killing it. I mean, let me rephrase that. He started off kind of rocky. Anyway, his book, it's called Delivering Happiness. I highly recommend it. It basically has three parts. He tells you this. It's profits, passion and profits, and then passion, profits, and purpose. And at first I didn't quite understand this, but then I did get it. His whole thing, when you get to the end of the book, he talked about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. I'm sure you are. And it's kind of like physiological needs, as you move up the pyramid: safety, love and belonging, and then self-esteem, and then self-actualization. But the problem is you can't get up to those higher level things until you've satisfied all the lower level things. So he sort of broke it down. It's like a business Maslow hierarchy of needs. It's basically three tiers. So, for happiness, and he broke it down to happiness. For happiness, he had pleasure, passion, purpose. And the problem with pleasure is it's short-lived. You're always looking for that next high. It's kind of like money, kind of like you buy the expensive thing and you want to show it off. Well, the problem is you have to keep buying those expensive things to keep reliving that high. It's short-lived. And then there's passion. There's like what you're passionate about. That's a higher level thing that makes somebody happy, and also in business. But what has the most sticking power of all is purpose. I think there's a Mark Twain quote. I'm not sure if it's Mark Twain, but it's like, two most important days are the day you're born and then the day you find out why. And, if you can find your purpose. And he says this with business too. Profits are your lowest level, but you've got to do that, just like pleasure. But you've got to constantly keep seeking profits to get that short win. But then once you move on to that, it's passion. You have passion about your business. And then if you move on to the highest level, it's purpose. Now, most of you guys out there listening are home inspectors, and you're like, oh my gosh, Preston, what googly goop are you talking about? And, I'm thinking, please bear me out. I think in the beginning, you obviously want to be profitable. If you can't stay profitable, you can't survive. But at some point, hopefully you become passionate about it. And then if you really experience the highest level, you have purpose. And if you think about it, think about you're helping people with their dream. The American dream is buying a home, and you get to play a small part of that. I mean, I think that's pretty incredible. You also, get to help people out. I can't tell you how many times people, were buying a house, and it was a good investment, but they're just barely qualifying. Maybe they have a lot of kids and they don't have much of, high-paying job, and, you found the furnace and the roof that was bad, and you got all that replaced for them. My goodness, I mean, you really did a service for them, and thank goodness for you. So I think we all have a purpose, and that's our highest level of needs. But anyway, like I said, the book's divided into 3 parts. It's profits, profits and passion, or passion and profits, and then profits, passion, and purpose. But the real thing about the book is he starts off, it's Tony Hsieh. He is of Taiwanese parents, and in the beginning of the book he talks about his early days, which I really identified with because he was like a little entrepreneur, and he had a worm farm. He tried to make money at that, and all the worms got away. There were a couple of different things he tried to do. This one resonates with me because I did the same thing. He had a button making machine. I bought that same machine. It was called Badge a Minute, I think. I bought all these buttons, and I would buy these like teen magazines. This is back when Duran Duran and Michael Jackson and all those were popular. And I would buy these magazines, and I would cut the circle out big enough and make buttons, and I would sell them. Man, I made a bunch of money. And this was back when buttons, you know, I don't know if you guys remember this. You might not be as old as me, but during the 80s, these jean jackets with all the buttons of all the rock stars and stuff was really popular, and I sold those things for $1 a piece. And I can't remember what my cost was. I was thinking it was like 20 cents or something like that. So that was a pretty good markup. Another thing that I did, he did something, I see it later when he got in college. He went to Harvard. There wasn't a McDonald's on campus, so what he did, he went and bought a whole bunch of hamburgers from the McDonald's further away, and they were $1 a piece. He would sell them for $3. And, you know, some people might say, oh, that's a great markup, you know, that's blah, blah, blah. But there wasn't a McDonald's there, and people would pay for it. And then eventually he started making pizza. So, you know, he was kind of a born entrepreneur. He was brilliant. He talked about how there's a lot of pressure in Asian families to perform, and when Asian families get together, they all talk about their kids' accomplishments. But you know, he was always looking for the easier way, or I don't know if that's the right word, but the smarter way. He was looking for something that he was passionate about, and he started this company called Link Exchange. I think he dropped out of college. I can't remember. I think he did. Link Exchange was something where they joined all these websites together, and they were able to advertise banner ads on each other. And he sold that. I think, did he sell that to Microsoft? I can't quite remember. It was like $200 million. And from there, he stayed on with them a little while. He kind of floated around a little while and didn't really have a purpose until he started Zappos. He actually started with a friend. Zappos had already started before him, but you know, once he took control of it, it was kind of a struggling shoe company, and he pretty much used all his money that he got from the sale of Link Exchange, and there were some times when they were almost couldn't make payroll and stuff, but he did turn it around, and there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Zappos. What he eventually did was he turned his culture. What he realized was he was, customer service is what it was all about, and that's what made Zappos different. In the beginning, he would drop ship things, but he realized he couldn't depend on the suppliers. So eventually, he started buying the shoes and put them in a warehouse, and they could depend on them. They would ship them, like overnight, free shipping, and customer service was what he based all of it on. That's what made Zappos so successful, was the customer service. He based it around the customer experience, and that's what made Zappos so successful. And that's kind of what he said. I mean, we're in a service business. The really USP we have is customer service. We have to provide better customer service and make it about the customer's experience, not ours. I mean, how many times do we go to a home inspection meeting and home inspectors get, I'm not doing this, I'm this, and I'm that, and that. You know what? Customer doesn't care. They don't care. You know what? Provide that customer with a superior experience, superior inspection. I know a lot of inspectors believe that, but how about a superior customer experience all the way around? So anyway, I've marked some marks up here on the book, and he compared business a lot to playing poker, and I know that might strike some people wrong, but not really. If you think about the averages, and there's a lot of parallels with that. I wanted to read a little bit from the book. Tony, he decided to brand through customer service. He puts his phone number on every page. He wants the people to call his website. And what he's trying to do is provide a wow experience from and it's free shipping, but a lot of times it would surprise their customer with overnight shipping, even though they didn't, call for that. He wanted to wow the customer, and he knows that if he wows the customer, and even if he loses a little bit of money on the experience, people talk about that. They talk about wows, and they go on social media. So he decided to brand through customer service. And here's another thing. Too many companies think that their call center is an expense to minimize. At Zappos, we believe it's a huge untapped opportunity for most companies, not only because it can result in word-of-mouth marketing, but because of its potential to increase the lifetime value of the customer. So what I wanted to focus there on, home inspectors, is think about the lifetime value of the customer, not just a one-time thing, and think about ways you could wow them, even if it costs you a little bit of money in the beginning. Let's see. He talked about a couple of other things. He says at Zappos, they don't measure call times. Their longest phone call was about 6 hours long. We don't upsell. We just care about what the customer rep goes above and beyond for every customer. We don't have scripts because we trust our employees to use their best judgment when dealing with each and every customer. We want our reps to let their true personality shine through. And they want to have a personal and emotional connection. They see every interaction through a branding lens instead of an expense minimization lens. 10 ways to instill customer service into your company. Make customer service a priority for the whole company, not just a department. A customer service attitude needs to come from the top. Make wow a verb that is part of your company's everyday vocabulary. Empower and trust your customer service reps. Trust that they want to provide great service because they actually do. Escalations to a supervisor should be rare. Realize that it's okay to fire customers who are insatiable or abuse your employees. Don't measure call times. Don't force employees to upsell, and don't use scripts. Don't hide your 1-800 number. It's a message, not just to your customers, but to your employees as well. View each call as an investment in building customer service brand and not just an expense you're seeking to minimize. Have an entire company celebrate great service. Tell stories of wow experiences to everyone in the company. Find and hire people who already are passionate about customer service. Give great service to everyone, customers, employees, and vendors. So anyway, that was just some of the things that I took from the book. I've got a couple more notes. Let me see here. Sorry, I don't mean to be... I love the book, by the way, and I highly recommend it. Their tagline is delivering happiness. In 1999, they started off with the largest selection of shoes, but then he realized, well, he has that too, but customer service is where it is. Customer service, culture, and core values are platforms, personal emotional connection, but ever since 2009, it's been delivering happiness, and it works for them. A couple other notes I wanted to say about the book. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can learn as home inspectors for our business because we're all entrepreneurs. Here's a couple of other interesting things about Zappos. Do you know that they pay people? They train for 90 days, and then they'll pay them $2,000 if they want to quit right then, because Tony wants to know if they're serious and passionate about this job. And rarely does anybody ever quit. In other words, they can quit after 90 days training. He'll pay them $2,000 to walk away. And they call that the offer. And they feel like if you take that offer, then that was worth the $2,000 because you wouldn't have been a good employee for them anyway. They believe in making customer service the responsible of the entire company, not just a department. Focus on the company culture as #1 priority. Help employees growth personally and professionally, and seek to change the world. I know that sounds crazy, but if you're passionate about what you do, also, helping charities. I've talked about that before. Let me see if there was anything else that I wanted to say about this book, but I really like it. I'd heard some good things about it. and there was a lot of buzz about it. But one thing he says, your core competency. Don't ever outsource your core competency. And if you're in a service business, your core competency is customer service. I know everybody wants to say, "Oh no, it's not. It's home inspection." Well, you probably have a lot of customers, and I know you want to think you're the best home inspector in the world. You know what? A lot of your competitors are pretty good. Now, maybe in your mind, you're the best, and that's fine. But honestly, in most of your realtors' mind, I'm sure there's other inspectors that they think are pretty good too. So what are you going to do to, get more business to them? Customer service. If you're a good home inspector, I'm sorry, but that's not just enough. You've got to have great customer service and create a wow if you really want to take it to the next level. Transparency. That's one of the big things. Let's see. Long-term view. Everything you do should be with a long-term view, and the lifetime value of a customer. And really, the lifetime value of a customer will be even more than most calculations show if you can wow them and continue to wow them. People don't put on Facebook or any of their social media, I had an okay dinner, but if they went out and the food was great, the server went above and beyond, and they got some extras for free, that's a wow experience. That's what they put on Facebook, and that is advertising you just can't buy. So my takeaway from this book is a couple of things. Make customer service part of your marketing. Make it part of your branding. Make customer service a priority, not just an expense. And then, again, just like the Maslow hierarchy of needs, for happiness, a person needs first pleasure, passion, and purpose to be happy. A company needs, for happiness, profits, passion, and purpose. So I hope all of us can make our way to the top there and find purpose in what we do. I highly recommend this book. It is called Delivering Happiness. I'll put a link on the thing there, and it is by Tony Hsieh, founder. I think I'm not sure he started it, but he was pretty much the person behind Zappos. Anyway, this has been Preston Sandlin. I own Home Inspection Carolina, but this is for the Successful Home Inspector podcast. Thank you for listening or watching if you're watching the video. Thanks.